Welcome to Nome Night Live. I'm your host, John Kreilkamp. We want to welcome you to the first live program to come to the people of Nome, and also to you folks in our studio audience, all 12 of you. We want you to enjoy yourselves, and secondly, the checks will be passed out when you leave tonight, okay? Not during the show, or it's when you leave. 1, 2. Okay. Pay you double. Okay, we understand we're competing with some pretty stiff competition tonight on the other channels. Of course, on Channel 13, you've got Jacques Cousteau and his Anatomy of an Ice Worm. And Channel 9, this week, sports' biggest thing to hit this country, especially Nome, Alaska, big-time badminton. So if you want to change channels now, go ahead and do so. Okay, for those of you who haven't, stay with us tonight. We've got a real interesting show tonight. This is our first attempt at doing a live, entertaining talk show, and I do mean entertaining. We've got Chris Fredell coming on with us. We'll be introducing Nomites new and Nomites not so new, but people that I'm sure you'll enjoy nonetheless. Chris will be singing a few songs for us and showing us a few things that he does with a business here in town that you might want to check out for your friend or foe, for that matter. We've also got other people online. We've got Steve and his Sports Corner coming up. We've got Pamela Thomas with Community Calendar, and also Pamela Thomas again later on in the show with Video Critiques. That's right. If you've got a video that you want to see, hold off, don't see it, wait till you hear Pamela's critique, and you'll be sure to see it. Right, Pamela?
That's
okay. Anyhow, other people coming up during the show, we've got Energy Phil and a special guest this evening, somebody who I'm sure we've all heard a lot about in the last week and a half, Mr. EPA. That's right, Environmental Protection Agency. And he'll be talking to us this evening. I understand he's having a wonderful time here in Nome, and we sure enjoy him here too, don't we? Okay, if you like what you see tonight, we want to make sure that, as I said, this is the first of a 3-part pilot program series. And we'll be doing it tonight, we'll be doing it next Thursday night, and not Thanksgiving Thursday, but the following Thursday, December 5th. And if you enjoy what you see tonight, stop us on the corner, tell us you enjoy it. Write a letter to the editor, send us a postcard, a letter, along with your endorsed permanent fund dividend check, and we'll be glad to stay on the air for the following year and a half or whatever. Okay, maybe just a dime or two would be nice, but whatever you've got, we'll take. Speaking of permanent fund dividend checks, how many have got theirs out there? That's right. Okay. How many haven't got theirs but already have theirs spent? All right, there we go. That's most like everybody. And we've come to that part of the program this evening where we'd like to discuss the results of a survey we've done before the show opened, of course, and these are entirely non-edited results that we've come up with, but the top 5 answers that we've come up with on how people have spent their permanent fund dividend check in Nome, Alaska include, they begin with, the 5th most popular reason was dinner and drinks for 2 in Nome. Okay. The 4th most popular answer that we got for people who had their $550 check from the government, they spent it on a week's worth of quarters for their child's video game habit. Number 3 was censored. Number 2 was a lifetime membership to Nome Aerobics. And the most popular reason the most popular thing that people invested in with their $550 from the Alaska State Dividend Permanent Fund was a barge load of Pampers. Good luck, Pamela. I hope you do better than I did tonight. I'd like to introduce our co-host this evening, Miss Pamela Thomas. Tell me, Pamela, what have we got on the tonight's agenda for, I guess you could say, community calendar? I understand you got a few things that are happening around town.
I have a few things, John. I am Pamela Thomas, and this is community calendar, evening of November 13th. This is Thursday. The Nome Visitor Center is redesigning the Nome brochure and is requesting that Nomites send in their favorite photographs of Nome. Children are excluded from that category. If your picture is chosen, it will be used in producing the new brochure and you will be credited. For information, please call 443-5535.
Or 5534, that's Lois's personal line, which she...
That she requested that we didn't give out, but thank you, John.
Okay.
But if you'd like to call her at home, I'm sure she'd be more than happy to help you there, too. Northern Sound Health Corporation has announced a Christmas card contest for students 1st through the 4th grade. I'm sorry, John, this leaves you out, but that's life. Pictures should depict healthcare and Christmas, and the winner will win a giant stocking full of toys. And I've looked at this stocking, and it's incredible.
How big is it?
It's incredible. It's 6 feet, 7 feet. It's taller than John. You've got to see it to believe it. It'll be on display at the hospital. And the deadline is Friday, November 21st. The drawings should depict healthcare and Christmas. And we encourage all the children to enter that.
That sounds like fun. Are you going to participate in that? Or?
Well, if there's no entries, I'm going to claim the stocking.
Get in there, huh?
The Nome Arts Council will be presenting a concert entitled A Musical Showcase featuring local artists Friday, November 21st at 8 o'clock p.m. This evening of music will utilize the beautiful Kauai grand piano purchased by the Nome Arts Council and will be free of charge. That's right. And the public is encouraged to attend because by attending this concert, you will support the arts in your community. I'm also told that our own George Sabo will be featured in this concert.
Who?
George Sabo? I'm sure you've heard of him in passing.
In passing? Has he passed away?
I don't think so, but
No.
he'll be at this concert if he shows up, and I'm sure this will be an evening you won't want to miss. Right, John?
Right.
Okay, moving right along real quickly. Viva la France! Learn from Nome's French chef. There is a French chef in Nome. Did you know that, John?
You know, I heard a lot about it, but as a matter of fact, we tried it out one Wednesday night. We went down for, it was a really good, it was called beef stew, but it was great, okay? I mean, you gotta try it. I'm serious. Some of the best beef stew I have had in Nome ever, and it was seriously very, very good.
Magnifique.
Yeah.
Oui. Exactly, John. And Nome chef in residence, Monsieur Jean-Marc Tisson.
Ooh. Hey, impress us one more time with that French accent.
Jean-Marc Tisson. I've been practicing that all afternoon, I have to admit. The cost is $9 per class, and I believe that it's been a pretty successful turnout. So we're looking forward to that. Make a note of it, John. Next week is National Education Week. That's pretty exciting, I know.
I'm just making a note of the last thing here. What was that?
National Education Week is next week.
Got it.
And Tuesday is National Community Education Day. So we would like to take this time to have, to encourage you to tell your educator, your child's teacher, just how much you appreciate them and how important teachers are to our community.
You know, they got a rough job.
They have a really rough
Could you
job.
imagine taking care... Well, our cameraman, can we move over here to number 2, camera 2? Go ahead, just move it. This man right over here, Dewey, your signal's right over here to George. We'd really like to put Bob online. Okay, you'll have to follow me then, over here. Now, I want you to follow me over here. It's okay, I'll yell. Dewey, over here. He can't move? All right, let's give him a big hand. This man behind camera 2 takes care of how many kids every day? 18. But that's a You're educators in Nome, Alaska. All right.
Next time, take a mic.
That's right. Okay, I'll do that. Any other community announcements?
This is a pretty important announcement. The Nome Police Department reminds Nome residents that this is snow removal season.
How timely.
How timely, exactly. Snow removal on Front Street will be Monday and Wednesdays on the south side and Tuesdays and Thursdays on the north side from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock a.m.
That was quite a howler today, wasn't it?
Sorry?
Big storm. Big storm.
It was an incredible storm, John. Moving on. The U.S. Postal Service's recommended deadlines for the mailing of holiday cards and parcels to United States addresses are November 28th for parcels being shipped by surface transportation and December 19th for airmail parcels and letters. But I'm sure you'll all have your Christmas cards and Christmas packages out way before then, so I'm sure you won't have to worry.
Got mine out.
Exactly.
Got yours, too.
Okay, the next regular Nome Public School Board meeting is scheduled for November 25th. It will be at 7:30 p.m. in the boardroom of the elementary school in Nome and promises to be an exciting one, I'm sure. One last announcement, John.
Yeah, I'm right here. Right.
The 10th annual Great American Smokeout will be held next Thursday, November 20th. I'm told I have to hurry up. Millions of Americans across the country will give up smoking for 24 hours with the help of their friends and communities. The North and South Regional Hospital will be Nome's official survival center, offering a kickoff breakfast, survival kits, adoption papers for those individuals wishing to adopt smoke for the day, as well as a drawing for turkeys donated by local businesses for those participants who have successfully cold turkey it. More information, call the North and South Regional Hospital, 443-3311. Good luck to all those participants, and back to you, John.
There she is, ladies and gentlemen. Nome's one and only, Nome's first graduate of the Evelyn Wood speed reading class, Miss Pamela Thomas.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll all take note of that. No smoking allowed, especially in this room. Anyhow, moving right along, Pamela, thank you very much for the informative community calendar. Once again, we want to remind everybody that this is live TV you're watching. There was a storm today. That just shows you it wasn't taped, okay? Is it over? Is the storm over? Yes. Thank you. That's how live it is. We just found out it's over. Anyhow, so if you're interested in being a part of this audience, you can come down to the multi-purpose room here at the Nome Elementary School and join us. What else have you got to do on a Thursday night in Nome, Alaska? Coming up next, coming up later in this show, we've got Chris Fredell and his guitar and balloons. We've got Bertha Adsuna. We have Mr. EPA. We've got Energy Phil. But first of all, I'd like to introduce a gentleman that is probably one of the most interesting people to come to the elementary school in a long time, Mr. Chris Fredell and his business of songs and humor. Chris.
Thank you very much. Being brand new to Nome and all, I thought I'd use a song to kind of introduce myself. So this kind of goes along with the no huffin' and no puffin' thing that we talked about the cigarettes. You know, no huffin', no puffin'. Just listen. Well, I'm just a guy with a heart of gold, and the ways of a gentleman I've been told. The kind of guy who wouldn't hurt a flea. That's me. But if me and a certain character met, that guy that invented the cigarette, well, I'd murder the son of a gun in the first degree. 'Cause it's not 'cause I don't smoke myself, and I don't imagine it'll ruin my health. I've been smoking all my life and I ain't dead yet. But at a petting party or a poker game, well, it don't matter, it's all the same, 'cause everything's gotta stop while they have that cigarette. So smoke, smoke, smoke that cigarette. Yeehaw! Puff, 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 and you can smoke yourself to death. Tell St. Peter at the Golden Gate, Lord, I hate to make him wait, but I just got to have another cigarette. Okay, my turn. I had a game of chance the other night. Well, old Dame Fortune treat me right. Them kings and queens just kept on coming around. Yeah, I drew a full house. I was betting high. That's what I do with my permanent dividend check. I drew a full house, I was betting high, but that bluff didn't work on one certain guy. He just kept laying his money down. Well, he'd raise me and I'd raise him. I was sweating blood, it was sink or swim. Finally he called and didn't raise the bet. Whew. I said, ace is full, pal. How about you? He said, I'll let you know in a minute or two, but I just gotta have just several more cigarettes. So smoke, smoke, smoke that cigarette. That's right. Puff, 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 and you can smoke yourself to death. Tell St. Peter at the Golden Gate, Lord, I hate to make you wait, but I just got to have another cigarette. Now, the other night I had a date with the cutest chick in the 49 states. Real highbrow, uptown socialite dame. Now she said she loved me, and it seemed to me that things were right where they ought to be. So hand in hand we crawled down Lover's Lane. Now she was so far from a block of ice, and that smooching party come along real nice. Believe me, Hannah, I think I'll be there yet. But I gave her a hug and a little squeeze, and she said, ooh, forgive me, please, but I just gotta have another cigarette! Yeah. So smoke, smoke, smoke that cigarette. Puff, 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 and you can smoke yourself to death. Tell St. Peter at the Golden Gate, Lord, I hate to make him wait, but I just got to have another cigarette. Well, I just got to have another cigarette.
All right. Yeah. Chris Fredell, ladies and gentlemen. Nice
Thank you.
Nice job. Very good. Yeah. Excellent. Chris, what do you do here in town other than, well, what do you do? I don't know.
I shift around, move quickly
Okay.
behind the stage.
You want me to hold something for you?
Well, see, yeah, if you could kind of hang on to those in a sort of a generally decorative fashion. There you go, kind of. Down more, down. Steady. You gotta get unhooked
So,
here.
Chris, you work here at the school?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I do. When I'm
And-
sitting at home waiting for the telephone to ring with this very phone number here in back, maybe you could get this.
Chris, okay.
Just happens to be 443-2738 in case you can't quite make it out there. Because what I do is I sit at home, John, I wait for the telephone to ring, and people call up that very number that's right behind your head there, and they order balloon bouquets, just like this one, or maybe a little different. We got scads of different kind of balloons for different events, different sort of happenings in people's lives.
You know, this really brings back a youthful feeling, too.
The youthful feeling, you
Youthful
kind of
feeling.
feel
You
your
bet.
your
This-
body get lighter, and you kind of, yeah.
Maybe it's a ridiculous feeling that I've got right now. I don't know what it is.
absolutely.
But holding balloons kind of is rather uplifting. And
You like that?
Yeah.
Let's take some time on right here. then.
Okay.
See, you can do anything with them. They're extremely versatile, these balloons.
What's the name of your business?
We call ourselves the Huffin, Puffin Balloons and Tunes Company.
Huffin, Puffin, Balloons, and Tunes.
That's
and
very good.
You'll take a bouquet of balloons and go to somebody's door and sing them a song, and you know, do you do things like pies in people's faces too, or not?
We'll do a variety of things. Being brand new to town, we probably will go easy on the pie end of things
Okay.
at first anyway.
Probably a good idea.
But we'd be delighted to take somebody who you want to make feel special, whether a birthday or an anniversary, or they got a new job, or they lost a job, or anything, you name it. We'll help you out with
You got something to
commemorating them.
Lift them up, help them
That's
out.
right. We got a celebrate here. I've got the hots for you over here.
Well, I know I've got one of your balloons at my home, and it's still stuck on the roof.
Still up
and
there, yeah.
it's been there a week, and hasn't come down yet.
Kind of uplifting the whole atmosphere. isn't it? Yeah.
Cat's been going crazy though.
Oh,
Can't get it
that's
yet.
right. Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Anyhow, Chris, what does something like this cost?
Oh, balloon bouquet. We have a variable price scale depending on what somebody wants. 2 of the shiny mylar balloons that say stuff on them, and 4 of the latex balloons that are real brightly colored makes a balloon bouquet, and that costs $15 with a free delivery.
Great. Okay.
And if you really want to put somebody on, if you really want to do something special for them, then I'll come along and sing happy birthday. If there's somebody you like, I'll come along, I'll blow my train whistle. Oh, gee whiz, if there's somebody that you really want to make feel silly, say they're, getting up there in age, about 25, 26, over the hill, and you really want to make them feel great, I'll sing them happy birthday with my concertina. I might do we mourn the passing of your youth, something like that, whatever you have in mind.
Got it all,
Really, if you really don't like them, I'll play them I'll blow my lobster claw at them, or do whatever. Whatever you have in mind, we'll work it out. You give us a call. 2738, that's the one.
Chris, thanks for joining us this evening. That's
My
wonderful.
pleasure.
And Huffin' Puffin' Tunes, We, I'm sure, expect to see it up in the Fortune 500 here soon.
We'll be up there, all right.
Okay, thanks much. Appreciate
you.
your time. Chris Fredell, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to move along. We're going to move along to a gentleman that I think is probably had a lot of experience in this area, and a good friend of mine. Let's not wait any longer. Steve in his Sports Corner.
Good evening, sports fans and thrill seekers. Tonight I'll be talking about something which has been part of Nome's history, and that is City League Basketball, or as John would like to call it, organized gang wars. To put it in its perspective, I talked with Trooper Duke Ballard today, and I asked him, I said, "Hey, Duke, what did you do to get ready for the season?" And he said, "Well, I went out and I played football for 3 weeks." And I said, "Well, you'll fit right in." He said, "Yeah, I think so." I said, "Well," and then I told him that while I was in New York City just a couple months ago, I was wearing this little T-shirt saying, "I survived City League Basketball." And strangest thing happened to me, and all the muggers were giving me their wallets instead of taking mine. It is definitely well known as a rough league. But tonight, I want to focus for the fans on two individuals, and it kind of gives you a nice touch of what that league does to them. The first is a person known as Jim Abbott. I don't know how many people here know Jim Abbott, but he's your basic 6'6", 6'7".
Isn't he the guy that files his elbows, Steve, before the game?
I'll get to that, John.
Okay.
I'll get to that. Don't worry.
All right.
And he is, a little awkward, and he's known to strike a little tear in the opponents. There's a rumor that has gone around about Abbott that one day he was sanding his house, and it was close to, for Abbott, what we call Miller time, and his belt sander broke. And so rather than waste any time, he finished the job with his elbows, and it definitely, if it's true, has caused a lot of people a lot of pain. The thing about Abbott, though, which is really fun, I mean, you've got to go to the games to really enjoy Jim Abbott, is that he gets this glazed look, and all of a sudden you realize that he doesn't know where he is or what he's doing. Absolute fear comes across his opponent.
Kind of that Charles Manson look.
You could call it that, but it's very effective, John. It gets the job done. At that point, he just dominates the game. Now, there's another person in the league who is kind of just the opposite, but has the same effect, and that is Joel Batchelder, who just happens to play for Milano's Pizzeria. Hey!
Thank you.
And Joel is probably one of the more positive individuals that you'll ever see. Never says a bad word to anybody. But I've yet to figure out what happens to him when he gets on a basketball court. The first time he goes down the court, wham, he nails somebody. Next time he goes down the court, wham, he nails somebody again. And to make it worse, he'll sit there and say, "Jesus loves you," or "Praise to God." So you don't get angry at Joel Batchelder. So the opponents go, "Kreilkamp or McComb, I'm going to nail you." It is terrible playing on Joel Batchelder's team. I mean, you win games, but you walk out black and blue. So these are two guys that are the hot tips of the week I would go watch if I were in Nome City League. Would be definitely Jim Abbott and Joel Batchelder. Now, tonight we're going to have the first of possibly many, or it could be the ending of the sports editorials.
I notice you're sweating already, Steve.
Oh, I am sweating. This is, as George said, just wing it, you'll have a good time. I've been nervous since last night. But anyway, we're going to have, we think that in sports, a lot of different sports, they have handicaps. And like they have golf handicaps, they have bowling handicaps, they have even handicap horse races. They've gone to the point, it's like I was telling somebody earlier, they've handicapped the American League with a designated hitter. So I think we need to have handicap running races. I mean, you're looking at a person who has put a lot of food into his stomach. And so when I run, it's a little bit on a slower pace than other people. You know, I got more weight to carry. And it gets a little frustrating watching that little Mark Rogers running around carrying all these little weights, you know, saying, oh, aren't you having a good time, Steve? You know, I'm looking like Frosty the Snowman by the time I'm done, you know, all sweat pouring down and ice is on my face, and he's going, this is good times. And I'm sitting there counting my steps until I get my next meal. And so I think to make it fair, that we'll just take Roger's height and compute what it is per, you know, inch per height, weight height, and take mine. And I figured Rogers would then have to put about 65 pounds on it. And then we'll see how much fun that Mark Rogers is going to enjoy this.
Yep. That sounds like a real equitable deal.
I think this is ridiculous. So, if how many people think handicapping races is the way to go? Okay, so we're going to let it be known on Nome Primetime TV that, Rogers, I am offering you a challenge. That we'll get the scales, and then we'll set the big race of the year.
All right.
Okay. And one last word, and that's for our cameraman, Mr. Beardsley, that Jim Plunkett did again prove you can be 38, old, gray, and get the job done if you play for the LA Raiders.
All right.
That's it for the week, John.
Thank you very much, Steve. Steve in his sports corner. Fabulous. I have to admit that basketball is not basketball until you've played it in Nome. Anyhow, moving right along, our next guest, sitting right next to me, Energy Phil. All right, Phil. Want to thank you for joining us this evening.
Well, thanks, John. You asked me to give you a few energy tips on your house. I know you got a little problem with your heating bills and whatnot. And I spent a lot of time thinking about what to really recommend, and I know there's a lot of pamphlets and brochures and lots of other materials out there, so I thought maybe I'd provide you some facts that maybe you won't get out of some of those brochures. And it kind of all starts with each person gives off a certain amount of heat, some a little more and some a little less, but the average adult gives off about 300 BTUs an hour.
BTU.
That's
BTU. I hear this a lot. What is a BTU?
Well, it's just a little bit of heat.
I mean, is that
if you burned a
about
kitchen
that
match,
much, or?
if you burned a kitchen match, John, all the way down till it scorched your fingers,
That'd be a BTU?
that'd be about a BTU. So you're giving off about 300 of them an hour.
I'm hot.
On average, right.
I'm hot.
But that works out to be about the same as a 100-watt light bulb that you got in your house. That gives off a little heat too. Well, okay, so we got people giving off this heat. So I figure if we get enough people in a house, we ought to be able to take care of the heating needs. So I did some calculations on your house, John. Well, first of all, I figured it's going to take about 400 people and hours to come up with the equivalent of a gallon of oil. But you got a pretty good-sized house, John, and that's why your heating bill's a little high, so we should be able to work it out. Now, if we keep going with this, John, that 1,000 gallons a year that you use, I figure you'd have to average 46 adults continuously in your house.
That's quite a party there, boy. I'd like to.
I mean, that's 24 hours a day. Now,
Jeannie would not approve of the cleaning bill, let me tell you.
Now, unfortunately, when the real cold weather comes, you may have to get to maybe 100 people to keep that mansion of yours.
Phil, do you lie awake at night thinking of these things?
Well,
you know, how many people would it take?
I just figured this is some useful information, John.
This would go over big in China where they got a population problem. I'm sure they
You
could.
don't hear the energy problem there, though, do you?
That's right. That's right.
That could be why.
A lot of warm mud huts there, boy.
So what you need to do, John,
What?
is you got to invite a lot of friends over.
Okay.
You got to make sure that to take their jackets off, because people that got a lot of clothes on don't give off as much heat as people that don't have as much on. So make sure you get their coats at the door. Now, it's also true that people who are well fed give off a little more heat than those dieting types. So I recommend feeding your guests well while they're there.
Do I get to choose who I can invite?
It's certainly up to you, John. It's your house.
I'm sure my wife had something to do with that, too.
And, of course, another thing, in a really cold weather, and I think your wife might actually appreciate this, you know, it's pretty well known that when you exercise, you give off a little extra heat. So I suggest instead of doing aerobics at the convention center on those cold winter nights, that you ought to have it at your house, John.
Phil, I'm sure glad we're not inviting you back next week. That's for sure.
Does that make sense to you, John? You got any questions?
Oh, you bet. I don't have any questions at all, Phil. What about my cat? If I have a cat, how many cats would it take?
Oh, you got a cat. That's right. Well, that cat's about 5 to 10 pounds.
So I got to shave the cat, you know, less hair?
Well, that would probably help.
Okay.
But I figure they're putting out about 20 BTUs an hour.
20 BTUs.
So you need about 15 cats to make up for your wife's amount contribution.
Okay. All right. Well,
now, obviously, an active cat is a little better than that cat that you got.
I want you to know that my cat box puts out much more than 20 BTUs an hour. In fact, one cat box per house would heat the house for a month. But seriously, at cats, dogs, people,
sure,
everything.
Chickens, people.
In other words, if you got a lot of people coming over to your house tonight, go ahead and turn the heat down. You won't have to worry about it. Pipes won't freeze up.
Make sure you take, their heavy clothes off. But on the serious side, John,
no kidding.
I really
on the serious side.
Appreciate the chance of coming and talking about some of this stuff, but I also realize there are a lot of people who do have some concerns about their heating bills and stuff, and I was hoping maybe if the network doesn't ban me, that I'd have an opportunity to come back.
Don't have to worry about that, Phil. We've already taken that decision.
And maybe come up with some good ideas for saving energy, with your heating systems and insulation and better lighting systems and stuff. And
okay.
Maybe in the future we can actually come up with something practical for your house.
Something
John.
useful. Okay. Thank you, Phil, for coming tonight. Energy Phil. Yep. People are going to be walking around for months saying, I want to party with that man there. Can you imagine? Let's go to Phil's house and really heat up things. My next guest, if I can, is a person who, as we said, we're going to be interviewing Nomites new and Nomites not so new. People who've been around here a long time, people who've grown up here. And without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Miss Bertha Adsuna. Thank you for joining us tonight, Bertha. I'm glad you could make it down. Bertha, you where did you grow up? Anyhow, did you right in the Nome area or whereabouts?
No, Golovin and White Mountain area.
Golovin and White Mountain. Okay.
Winter time we stayed in White Mountain.
How long have you been in Nome then?
I came October 16, 1942.
1942.
Yeah.
Wow.
First came to Nome.
Okay.
And worked in a hotel.
And your better half, Pete, is he here tonight?
Yeah, he's in the audience.
Let's get a camera shot of Pete down here. Dewey, it'd probably be easier for you to go ahead and get Pete. Pete, you want to wave to the audience tonight? Thanks. Pete, did you give your permission for her to come on tonight? Is it okay to talk to us? Good. I'm glad. Okay. I wanted to make sure everything was okay with your better half here. Bertha, what were things like when you grew up in, say, Rocky Point or White Mountain? What was a typical day for you, just waking up? What time did you get up? What are the types of things that you did during the day?
In Golovin.
Say for a 16-year-old, when you were 16 years old.
I was 13 when I started taking care of dogs.
You were a dog musher.
Get up 5 o'clock in the morning to get them out of the barn.
How many dogs did you have?
My father had 35 dogs.
35. Now, how would you take care of 35 dogs? You don't just open up the door and say, come on out, boys, and run them around a while. How do you do that, and how long would that take?
Well, we had 35 stalls in a dog barn, so much off the ground and grass for them to lay on. And I feed them around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock at night and put them in the barn about 6:30. Turn 5 dogs loose and let them go in the barn, and I go in after them and tie them up. They know exactly what stall to go into.
You're kidding.
And all 35 dogs do the same.
Huh.
Every day, every morning.
Well, what's your secret? How did you figure this out?
Well, I put them in the same stall every time I put them in. This is yours and it's yours.
Do you have names for all your dogs?
All the dogs have
Every
names.
one of them? What was your favorite dog's name?
I don't know. They were all my favorite, all of them.
All of them, huh? Okay.
I didn't have any.
Bertha, when you were 16, I know kids today, not just Northwest Alaska, but all over the world, deal with a lot of different problems, and I'm sure are a lot different than what 16-year-olds, say, back in 1942 or 1930 had to deal with. What kids today have to deal with alcohol, drugs, suicide problems. What types of problems did you have back then, or were there any?
No, when we lived in Golovin, we were too busy to think about those things. We were hauling wood, and hauling ice for drinking water. And in the evenings, for recreation, we play football, or soccer you call it, I guess.
With a regular ball, or?
With the regular Eskimo-made ball.
Okay.
Or the reindeer hide with hair in it. My sister and I make those for entertainment in the evenings.
Bertha, do you ever remember a time where you really got in trouble for something?
I got scared when I killed a dog by hitting it. That 2 dogs got into a fight in the morning.
And you had to go out and break them up?
I used a willow and harness that I couldn't separate them, so I used a long pole and hit one of them, and it fell down. And that's when I was kind of scared that I would get bawled out, but I didn't.
Broke up the fight, though, that's for sure.
It did.
What other things do you remember? Do you remember getting in trouble for that your parents might have, excuse me, might have, say, reprimanded you for, or were you a pretty good kid? Okay, guys, we're going to turn off the mics real quick, and she's going to tell me. All right? Go ahead.
Well, I don't remember getting into real bad trouble because we were always too busy.
Too busy, huh?
Too busy either chopping wood or hauling wood or sawing wood, packing ice, taking care of dogs, like I said. Drive dogs to get wood. We go and get wood. 3, 4 dog teams used to go out, us teenagers, go same place, same morning, each morning, help each other load up our sleds and then go home, do the same thing the next day.
Well, you seem like you got a lot of energy. That everybody that I know who knows you always said that she's always got something going on. Where do you work here in town?
I'm retired now.
Now, wait a minute. I've seen you driving a car quite a bit for you and the ladies driving around in the van, right?
I did a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah? You're not doing that anymore, huh?
No, I'm not doing
So you
that.
retired?
I retired from everything now.
Can you tell me how old you are?
Well, on my next birthday, I'll be 70 years old.
Big hand.
56 months away from now.
Well, in 4 months, I'll be 31, and let me tell you, that's it's awful. At least 30 was a big one. Was 30 a big one for you, turning 30?
It seems like it took years for me to get 21 years old.
Oh, yeah?
I waited years.
It flew by. I woke up when I was 26. I don't know what it was. But anyhow, that's...
But nowadays, the time goes so fast. I lost 1 year. I thought I was 68, and here I was already 69 years old.
Last time you took... No more aspirin for you, okay? Stay off that. Anyhow, what was your hardest birthday, do you think? Has aging ever been a problem for you like it's been for me?
I don't know.
Too easy, huh?
I never really keep track of my age until I have to get my longevity bonus.
Hey! Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Bertha, what problems do you see in Nome that are real prevalent that you think we ought to pay more attention to?
Well, it seems like the teenagers today they don't seem to mind whether even you tell them that you should do it this way or just leave the booze alone. They still go out and drink it. I don't know, we grew up with no liquor at all. We never knew what it was. And today everything is so easy for them. The twist of a wrist, the water comes out. And they don't have to take anything out except for a few pieces in the garbage bucket. That's all. We had to do everything when we were kids. Too busy to think of anything. But we still had time to play. I mean, when we were teenagers, go out and pick greens and stuff at night. And nowadays you can't. You go tell the kids, my grandchildren, to go and pick greens. Said, no, we're not going to. We don't want to. But if you take them out, they will pick. But it's kind of hard to take them out all the time because they want to go swimming or go to those video games or whatever you call them in the rec center. They don't know how to work anymore.
Getting soft, huh?
I got two big teenage girls. They're not working.
What would you like to see change as far as our youth today? You've mentioned that you'd like to see, our kids are maybe not like you when they grew up. I mean, I don't expect mine to be like me, of course, but and I hope they aren't. But what would you like to see change in this community that maybe would help kids today?
I have no idea.
It's an honest answer. I like that.
I have no idea what to tell them.
That's good. Okay. Anything else you'd like to share with us tonight? What anniversary is it for you and Pete here shortly?
33 years, I think.
He's over there chuckling. I don't know. 33 years.
I think it's 33 years.
Well, hon.
Coming December.
Got quite a ways to go, don't we? 33 years. I've been married at, year and... Are we on our fourth? Yeah, it seems like 33 years. I know, dear, but... Well, maybe we'll change the subject. What do you say?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, good idea. She's quick. Okay. Well, Bertha, thank you for coming on and talking with us tonight. Is there anything else you'd like to pass along tonight? Words of wisdom, and you have the first honor of being one of our first guests to interview this evening. Next week we'll be interviewing Dr. Harry Owens, and he'll be one of our people to talk to. But anyhow, I thank you very much for joining us tonight, and I wish I had something to give you, like a Nome Night Live t-shirt, but we haven't even got any money yet, so if you'd like to buy her a t-shirt, folks, you can send the money to me and I'll get it to her, okay? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Bertha Adsuna. It's one thing about that woman. Every time you see her, she's got a smile on her face, and she brings a smile to my face even on some of my worst days. Yeah. All right. A bouquet. All right. Yeah. It looks like Tunes and Balloons has already got its first victim here in the Nome region. Going back to our next person that we're going to be hearing from this evening on Nome Night Live, being held live at the Multi-Purpose Room in Nome, and working our way down the agenda, is Miss Pamela Thomas and Critics Corner. Pam?
Thank you. Welcome to Critics Corner, where either myself or a guest critic will offer their opinion on one of the several films released on video available at any one of the local video stores in town. This week I had the opportunity to view 8 Million Ways to Die. The title is pretty appropriate of its content. Billed as an exciting adventure, this film starred Jeff Bridges of lately, what was he in?
Jeff Bridges?
Jagged Edge? Yeah, he was in Jagged Edge. And Rosanna Arquette of Desperately Seeking Susan as a down-and-out cop and a prostitute, respectively, who are caught in a world of drugs and violence. Sound original? Okay. Full of blood, violence, cliches, and rehashed lines.
This is sure to sell.
This slow-moving film is, well, slow-moving. I have to disagree with the title of this film. There really aren't 8 million ways to die. The movie proves that. There are only 3. You can be shot, stabbed, or bored to death. I know I barely made through it, and that's my review for this week. I hope to see you next week.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you, John.
Pamela. Critics Corner. That's right. Last week, if you'll recall, we were discussing the possibility of giving the Best Actors Award to Sylvester Stallone.
That's right.
In Rambo. I thought it was a stunning performance, and it just shows that you don't have to have a lot of money to... never mind. We won't go into that either. Okay. Finally, folks, our last character that we're going to be interviewing this evening on Nome Night Live is a gentleman that we've seen walking the streets, especially the playgrounds of Nome. A man who you kind of wonder, what are those guys doing? I thought it was a Klan meeting on the corner. I'm sure everybody else did too. There's been some problem, some discovery of arsenic and other strange things in our playgrounds. You know, I mean, we played softball there, haven't we? We've done everything there, almost. And anyhow, it was strange to hear that we've got a problem at the corner, and we've invited a gentleman by the name of Mr. EPA back to talk with us this evening. Mr. EPA. Mr. EPA, I'm glad you could make it with us this evening. Have you been treated well here in Nome?
I've been treated great, John. It's been great.
You look like you're real comfortable with being here tonight.
Yeah, I feel real casual. Yeah.
Real casual. Okay, Mr. EPA, what brings you to Nome? I mean...
Well, John, I'm here mainly to alleviate panic. I know there's been some people who have been worried about health problems in Nome, and we're here to do some testing and try to eliminate that possibility. So I want all of you people not to worry at all about your health. Everything looks fairly good, and I'm not worried at all.
This is just a routine examination, right?
It's a routine test, yes.
You do a lot of routine examinations of playfields, do you?
I wouldn't say routine. We've done things at the Love Canal and Times Beach, Missouri, and those are fairly routine. Fairly routine? Yes.
Okay. And you're here in Nome now?
Yes, a routine test.
Routine.
Like those, purely routine, no cause for concern at all.
It's quite an outfit you have on, Mr. EPA. Could you tell us about it?
Yeah, well, we in the trade refer to these as Chernobyl tuxes. And got the decal melted off a little a week ago, but I feel comfortable in it. I'm used to it.
Could you stand up and model it for us this evening?
Sure.
And Mr. EPA, what is on your back here?
Well, that's sort of a little symbol to boost morale.
That stands for mercury and arsenic?
Oh, that's correct. Yes, it does. That's here in your coat there, John. We always carry this with us, just routine, John.
Okay. Is your mission completed here in Nome?
It's almost complete. We've come here and we've taken some soil samples. We've also taken some other samples and things like this. We in the trade, well, back east we call these Colombian urinals. They're pretty popular with government folks now, and we've done some work with those. Here, you can have this as kind of a memento, but would wait till after the show, John.
I will. Thank you. Mr. EPA, what is there a cause for public concern over the levels of mercury and arsenic found in Nome or not?
As you may know, mercury and arsenic are natural elements. They're on the periodic table in trace amounts. However, there was a little concern that there may be more than the natural amounts piling up in Nome, but they are natural elements, and if you can't get close to nature in Alaska, then where can you do it? We feel that people who are afraid of natural elements should probably move to like New York City or Detroit or somewhere.
Or maybe somewhere in Switzerland on the River Rhine.
On the Rhine, which is my next stop.
That's your next stop.
I have to leave here to do some testing on the Rhine. Again, it's purely routine.
And I'm sure you're going to make those people feel right at home too, aren't you? It's routine, right?
My job is to alleviate fear.
Alleviate fear.
Absolutely.
That's a great motto.
I'm just another dedicated public employee doing his job, John.
Yeah, over $65,000 a year too, I'm sure, right? No
Well,
comment.
with the cola. With the cola.
With the cola. Okay, well, Mr. EPA, we don't want to keep you from your duties. I'm sure you want to catch the next jet to the Rhine, and we appreciate you coming in and speaking with us this evening on, the problem that we might have here, and also for making us feeling as though we're at home here in Nome, and making us feel at ease with what you've done for us. I want you to know that that UPI photo of you standing in front of our playground really made us all feel very much at ease. And
well, I hoped it would help the tourist industry, too,
yes,
John, to alleviate any fears they
no
have.
doubt it has. Okay.
I'd like the people of Nome to know I've been all over. I've been to Love Canal, Times Beach, and this was one of the nicest towns I've ever been to. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll have to have him back soon. Okay. That about wraps it up for tonight's show. Thanks for joining us here on Nome Night Live. There's a few people we want to thank. Our kudos go to Kerry Bowling, who, I want you to know, should have been up here tonight taking my place, but we flipped a coin and lost. He'll be on next week, Sharon, don't worry, okay? And we've also want to thank Jan Sabo for her enthusiasm in helping getting this off the ground. It was, over a glass of wine earlier, and it was over a piece of cake at somebody else's house. And this is something we've batted around for a long time. We wanted to give people a medium to, sit down and talk about live events here in Nome. Also, thanks to the community schools and Northwest Community College. Thanks to Mr. Beardsley, and thanks to Dewey Schultz, and thanks to all those folks that joined us this evening. I'm John Kreilkamp. Thanks very much for joining us tonight on Nome Night Live. All right. Hey.